All right, getting set up. What's up, good people? All right, just making sure the levels are set up, making sure we're good there. A couple of cool things to jump in. Give it a little second. Cool. All right, so we're good to go. What's going on? Today I want to jump into some pretty cool updates that we've been making on the Bagverse side and kind of just walk through like how we're able to put together some of this data that we're um, synthesizing and showing to our clients, small businesses, and entrepreneurs, people with online presence that are looking to improve, their sort of like standing, their marketing strategy, their marketing campaign, and leverage AI to be able to do that. We've been really going full steam ahead with a lot of I've been getting really bigger into vibe marketing, how it can be leveraged, what it is that, this offering can do for, small businesses and people of the like, and just like how to kind of like quickly get people acclimated with this so that it's something that you're not sort of trying to learn a new technology. You're not trying to learn a new way of, functioning, which you will, obviously, but that onboarding process can be a hassle, and this is going to be the new way of, many things. AI is definitely shifting the way that we operate, the way that existing platforms are able to essentially like, you know, navigate, and how you're going to reach out to your audience, where you're going to find your audience, how do you ensure that you're staying up to date and in the know with what is moving. You really the stuff is moving really fast. It's something where, like, if you're not in tune with it, then you can kind of get left behind pretty quickly. So um, definitely want to share more and more insights around that to kind of help people, like I said, get acclimated, get up to speed with it, stay in the know, and all that good stuff. So we've been going full steam ahead on a lot of the vibe coding stuff, integrated a lot of that into our platform. So what you're looking at right now is Bagverse, which is a full scale, like one-stop shop for small businesses and professionals to learn about AI, find tools that fit their use cases, and leverage our expertise and our agents and our pre-existing features to really ramp up what it is that they're doing, to kind of make that easier for them to get up to speed with what's going on. Um, so yeah, today I wanna kind of just focus on this new feature that we recently released. It's been getting some really good traction here. We were recently at the Small Business Expo where I was able to connect with many different small businesses and just kind of hear like what they're seeing right now in the AI space, what they're hearing, some of their problems, what they do know about AI, what they don't, and how they think it can or cannot help, and where that bottleneck is. Things like that are great to attend because you get to really hear firsthand what the problems are, so that you can build for actual real problems that are out there, and you get to really like speak and talk to the people that you're building for, so that you can understand the problem better and then be more equipped to deliver value. So it's a great experience. And what we did is that we showcased this this landing page that we have here, this entire feature, and I'll kind of go through it now. And then because like I said, like what we're doing with Bagverse is that we have tools for small businesses, professionals, and developers as well. So, and we sort of also kind of give you transparency. So like some of this stuff you can do, but leaning on us makes it easier. We've found and we've built agents that do this faster, that are staying up to date. So, if you want to learn, we're here to teach. And then if you want to, purchase a service and actually have it, sort of like run so that you can focus on your business, we kind of like accommodate both scenarios, right? So, so I'll just jump into it. So this is a landing page that essentially what we do is we take a business and we process their entire online like presence, right? We look at their website. We process how is their SEO performing currently. What are keywords that are prevalent in their market? What are their competitors doing that they're not? We look at their Google business profile and just sort of like run through a fine comb tune and say, hey, you're missing this. You're not executing on that. You're not showing this. And then we also take a look at their existing social media platform to see if they're taking advantage of everything that's available to them on the social media side. And we've basically we've calculated industry standards, industry norms, again with a lot of vast research and a lot of data. What you're going to see in the AI space is that data is your moat. So if you can find and process data in a way that helps to make sense of an industry, of a pattern, of something else that, maybe someone else is in that market, but they don't know the full depth and breadth of it, that's where you can really leverage AI to be a game changer for a business. So, we put together scores and sort of like ranked this business to those scores that we have. Again, this is all automated. So we just pick a business and we run it through our, existing agents to kind of come up with this data. And then we also do sentiment analysis on their Google reviews, which is, something that's really, really big. Like, it's a gold mine there, right? Like you're already been up and running. You have a digital, online presence. You need to start tapping into what people are already saying. Yeah, high level, you can go to Google and look at your reviews, but to really extract what's coming out of that, you want to do sentiment analysis. You want to like really get into the nitty gritty of it, so that you can start seeing trends, so that you can start saying, hey, maybe this is a new feature we could introduce. This is a new product. This is a new service. Maybe this is a new area that we can start trying to target. So there's a lot of different ways that you can, utilize this data. So we want to bring that data to the forefront to clients. And then now here's where a lot of the value comes that we provide to our clients, is that what we've done is we've essentially built a way we take in, like I said, this is all of this was created without us interacting with the brand directly at all. So like we just found them online, processed their entire online presence, brought it in, and then now this is how much we can glean just from what they already exposed, on top of the industry standard data that we've been able to like calculate and massage and bring in, and all the different data points that we have. So we offer the ability to start producing high quality content that matches their brand voice for them. So ChatGPT is, or other large language models are great at SEO optimized blog posts, right? So nothing too crazy there, but we are adding a little bit more context here so that the blog posts come across much more organic, much more like human read, and ensuring that they convert really well, right? This is where we're adding a lot of value, and where we're really changing the game is that we're also going to help them produce different video and social media content automatically, right? So again, this was all done just based on this brand's online presence. So and this is what we would show to them, like this is sort of like our lead gen, or what we lead with when we're bringing in new brands. We show them, hey, we already put this together for you, here's how we can help you take it to the next level. So just quickly, I'll show you, let this play.
I've lived in Scarsdale for almost 16 years now, and I can honestly say that hiring Mario Forgione Landscaping was one of the best decisions I've made for my home. When we first moved in, our backyard was just basic.
So you see here, this is a full length sort of like promotional ad for this landscaping business. It's UGC generated using AI and different tools that we have. So I'll kind of go into that on this live stream. But this is very lifelike, right? Let me even see. Let me go full screen so that you guys can see that
Nothing
this
special.
is
But I wanted a
very
space where my
similar
family
to
could
a
really enjoy the
real
outdoors
person
and
that
entertain
made this
friends.
content. Looks
Mario's
very
team listened to
lifelike, looks
exactly
very,
what I wanted and
very
delivered beyond my
cohesive.
expectations.
You
They
can
redesigned the
really
entire space
see
with beautiful
how,
stone walls, perfect
essentially what
drainage
we're trying to
solutions,
do, what we
so we
will be
never
able to
have
do for
puddles anymore.
brands is we'll be able to increase their surface area of content, right? So what we offer is that, we'll produce this content for you automatically, and then we'll also find unique ways to sort of deploy it. So either we'll help you deploy it on your own existing channels, whether you're YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, wherever you're at, and then we'll also spin up additional accounts that it can now be sort of like deployed in multiple ways so that it's coming across as really organic, because we're moving to a space where social media is less about seeing content from who you actually follow and more about just like the content finding you. So if you have it out there on more places, then it will find the people it needs to find and get in front of them. So, that's an example. We have X posts or threads that we would generate for them, again, based on their brand voice. And what we do is that each month we go and we have a one-on session with the business. So we actually, this is where we're shifting gears compared to some of the competitors out there, is that there is an IRL aspect to it that still needs to be satisfied. Like you still need to make sure that the content is coming from an organic place and it really captures the brand voice of the business, right? So in order to really do that, you have to, and this is something that is based on us trying it out ourselves, right? So like what's the saying? Like, you got to make sure that you sort of like eat your own, dog food, right? So like we really built this system based on things that we do for ourselves. I do for myself here in Bagverse, Curation Lounge, or any other venture that I have, is that, we found a way to take in, one piece of content from IRL in real life that, whether I do these live streams or I make a video, going to an event or whatever. And then we take that and then we can split that out into many different smaller bite-sized clips coupled with AI, right? Because I think that where we ultimately land when it comes to AI in the content space is that AI is going to be a supplement, not a replacement. It's going to be a supercharger. It's going to be something that adds to. It doesn't take away from. You still need that IRL piece. And again, this is something where businesses want to focus on running their business, they want to find a platform that helps them essentially, make this, you know, automated, make this something where they don't have to think about it. They're just kind of still rocking and rolling and doing what they do. And we're handling that for them, right? So, so we also have, and I'll go into how some of this stuff was made, but we also can create lifelike podcast episodes for them. I'll play this one.
Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, you and I are going to, well, get our hands metaphorically dirty. We're exploring some really smart, budget-friendly ways to give your...
So as you see there, this would be a podcast episode that either can be promoted on a different channel or their own channel that indirectly references them, so it comes across really organic. It comes across like, hey, it's increasing that knowledge domain that brands need to have if they want to gain new business. And then we also have UGC short form content as well.
Homeowners and business owners, you need this service in your life. Mario Forgione Landscaping, transforming Westchester's outdoor spaces for over 40 years. From expert lawn care to stunning landscape design, we've got you covered. Trust the professionals to create and maintain your dream outdoor oasis.
So again, this was automatically done. We just took in, again, the brand's online sort of like presence. We use some tools, and I'll kind of go through some of the tools that we're using along with our agents that we build to make this automated, because, this is not a lot of the stuff can be DIY, like brands can do it themselves, but we're offering that value of taking it off your hands and we'll automate this for you. So the content piece is really a game changer. We also, like I said, we process their Google online presence, their if they have one, a Google business account or Google business profile, and we show them some updates that they need to make to that said profile, and show them here are some things that they should be having on their profile so that potential customers that come across their online site or their online profile know what they offer and have a better understanding of what they can expect from them. So here's another big piece that we're really using to separate ourselves from other services, and also like getting more fine-tuned into vibe marketing. So what this is that we also show them the kind of ads that we can create for them, and these ads are actually based on what their competitors are currently doing that's converting pretty well. So this ad was built for this business based on other landscaping services in the area that also are running ads, and their ads are converting really well. So you want to stay in the competition with your competitors, and how do you do that is that you're constantly tracking the market and seeing how you should tweak to see what you should be doing, right? And this is super automated, so they would be able to sort of like spin up a Facebook, Google ad, Instagram ads quickly with these assets that we create for them. And then we also show them how easy and how automated it is for us to build dynamic landing pages that these ads would send potential clients to, that can capture that lead, that can capture that potential customer. And again, how we're sort of functioning with this is that these landing pages can stand alone from their existing website. So I'll actually let me pull up the this business exactly so that you guys can kind of see where we kind of pulled them from, or like how this exactly lands, right? So this is a local landscaping service in the Westchester area. So they already have a website, as you can see. They're pretty well known. They're doing pretty well for themselves. They have some pretty good content already. So it's not like we're saying we're gonna replace every single thing that you're doing and that what you're doing is trash. We can do that, but you have it, great. What we're looking to do is, like I said, be a supplement, right? So like if we say we'll go back to Backverse, and we said that, hey, we can quickly spin up this ad. Now, does this ad point to a high converting lead page that they already have? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Can they quickly spin one up using, maybe they're using Shopify, GoDaddy, WordPress, which a lot of, businesses are currently using. They're kind of trapped with how fast they can move to get a more dynamic landing page. We can spin up this landing page on our own platform that still retains their aesthetic, but it now has a new lead gen, and we will essentially like help them capture these new leads and make it dynamic. Because again, this landing page has been based on, what has performed really well for their competitors. And I'll walk you guys through some of the tools that you can, again, you can do this DIY, but there's other ways to kind of like go about it. Or we're automating that for our clients. So I think that's a really big game changer there that, we've been getting some good feedback on. Another thing that we offer is that on these landing pages, we can implement chatbot features so that, a potential customer, again, maybe they already have it on their own site. Doesn't seem like they do. They have to text us, they have to call us. But again, they don't have something that's pretty smart where, if I'm a potential client and I want to book them, but I kind of want to just talk through what they offer, they don't have that right now. You can call, but maybe somebody just wants to chat. So on our landing pages that we build for them, we would build that chatbot functionality that takes in all the context from the business and then now can go out and handle conversations with potential clients. So, and then we also show them based on numbers that we've calculated and crunched and done our deep research on what, purchasing this service would do for them. So they get an understanding of the return on investment. And then, kind of let them, hey, book a call with us, or, if they want to jump right in, we also have some packages that they can just immediately purchase just to get going and get started with this. And each package has its own benefits. So, that's the marketing solution sort of like, one pager that we, like I said, we can just take in any brand and automatically put this together. This gets, again, including the content that gets created, this is something that we've automated to a point where now we can get it done within an hour or so. So like, this has been getting some pretty decent traction. And I think that, like I said, this is going to really incentivize brands and small businesses and companies to get acclimated with this vibe marketing and move faster and understand that, keeping an eye on your competitor and then now being able to act on it is what, AI and having the software to do it is going to allow you to do. And that's what we're trying to enable a lot of these brands to do. So, what I want to do next is just for, the DIYs out there, the people that like to kind of like roll up their sleeves and maybe like maybe test some of these things out if they want to, if they see it seems like it's something interesting, but, maybe they want to, try some of this out on their own, or, just see if it's something that they could sort of like spin up on their own. I want to go through high level some of the ways that you can get at some of this data. Again, we've built back end agents that make this much easier and sustainable. But, there's, like I said, there's ways to kind of like get your feet wet with it. And then, when you're ready to move forward, hopefully you come to us at Bagverse and, we implement a more structured workflow that is repeatable, and you can kind of just be hands off and you can focus on your business. So I'm gonna pull up. So I think I did this in a previous video where I talked about MCPs and just how powerful they are. And that's really what we're utilizing a lot of. Well, that's what you can utilize if you want to start doing some of this stuff, is utilizing MCPs. I'm going to pull up. So I'm a big user of Claude. Just getting it set up right now. So yeah, so I'm a big user of Claude, and Claude was definitely, I think you can say definitely like first to market on the MCP. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, Claude was the first to adapt and implement MCPs. So again, MCPs are essentially they're they're mini apps that let you pull in data securely from many different places and have it be able to be accessible to large language models. So if we take a look here, we'll see that I already have a few MCPs installed in my Claude desktop app, right? So Google Maps. So this lets me do things like search places, place details, get directions. So like it's accessing the Google API along with maybe some other data to enrich it and then bringing it into Claude so that Claude with this large language model capabilities can then now do more with it. Like we said, AI is only as powerful as the data that it has access to. So when you're interacting with a large language model, you're interacting with the data that it was already trained on. So like historical data. That's why sometimes when you send it a message, it might say, I don't know anything about this that happened past a given date like May 15th, so or May 14th. So if the model was trained and deployed on May 14th, then it doesn't know anything after that date. So that's why tools that allow it to search the internet to get up to date information is important, because now it can do inference. That's how it essentially like adds on to its knowledge, and adds on more context there, right? So the context is what really drives it. So that's what these MCPs are doing. And then you have things like Puppeteer, which we're going to be using now. You can, the large language model, kind of like you have your own like surface level agent the moment you start dealing with tools like a Puppeteer, because now you can talk to Puppeteer and what you're going to see here to tell it to do certain tasks, right? Then I also have browser use, which like, go to a URL, scroll up, scroll down, um, you know, things of that nature. So MCPs, like I said, this is a good way for you to get into the habit of leveraging large language models to automate some of the tasks that you might already be doing and help you do it a little bit faster, right? So let me make this bigger. Cool. So I'm going to so let's go back to so again, if we look at what we have available to businesses, is that we say, hey, you know, we took a look at your Google, we'll start off with the Google profile stuff. So we took a look at your Google profile. Here's some of the things that we think are missing. And then here's some of the sentiment analysis we did, right? So what I'm going to do is let's go back to this lawn service to show you a DIY way that you can go about this. Again, we have something that's more stable and more, structured, but here's a way that you could potentially start doing something like this, right? So here's this business. What we'll do is we'll pull up its Google profile. Google, and we'll go to reviews, right? I forgot I'm in Brave, so um, It's a little bit different when you're in Brave, right? I got to go to google.com and then put in like that, right? Okay, so this is going to pull up this business's reviews, right? So we hit reviews there and we see, they're doing pretty well. They have 6 reviews, 5-star for most of them. So this is their business profile, right? So this is where you see all the things that they're telling potential clients about what it is that they do or don't offer, right? So what we want to be able to do is, the first thing is, like we said, we need this data, right? We need this data in order to help make decisions, or help help our platform be able to decipher if they have, how do we tell them that their Google profile isn't optimized as much as it should be, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in. So I want to so we'll do two things, right? So first, we can, just to show you how this Google Maps use Google. So here's how you don't, sometimes you don't have to reference it directly, but I like to do it just to make sure that it goes through. Use Google Maps to find the profile for this business. Right. So basically, I'm kind of doing a web search and extract all the information they currently share on their Google profile, right? Okay, so this will trigger Claude to use our MCP that we just pointed out. So the LLM is smart enough to know that in order to get this, you see it's using the map search places. So it's using that MCP that we just pointed out, saying that I found 2 listings. Let me get the detailed information for both locations. So this business has a couple of locations. They're in the Westchester area. So here's all the information it was able to glean from the Google profile, right? So now we'll do something like based on fully optimized Google profiles, point out what information this business is missing to have, right? Right. So what we're doing here is that this is high level, is more that would go into it when we created the one pager for them. But as you see here, after analyzing the Google Maps profile, I can identify several missing key elements, right? So these are all in a, pretty spot on for the most part. Like they don't, like if we go back to the profile, like we said, you see that they only kind of just have like a brief description of what they do. They have their address, their hours, but they're not adding all of the information that we see would make them more, searchable, more discoverable, and a potential client would find them and be like, oh, maybe I should use them. So now going back to what we offer on Bagverse, you see that we sort of tell them, hey, these are the things that you're missing. and we also will create those missing details and add it so that it can be added to their business profile. So that's again how you show, here's the gaps that you're missing, here's what can be implemented, so that, you know, again, you can just focus on doing your business and, you know, implementing your business the right way, right? So that's one piece. The next piece is now let's look at how we would generate how you could generate something similar to like this Google sentiment analysis, right? So sentiment analysis essentially is just like looking at open-ended responses, so textual responses, and determining if it's a positive sentiment, neutral, or negative. So again, so that you can see how people are talking about your business on a deeper level. Because like, yeah, okay, 5-star reviews. I mean, we can probably glean that most of these reviews are going to be 5 stars. So this probably isn't the best. I mean, most of these reviews are going to be positive. So this probably isn't the best company to use. But if there were negative, then you could dig deeper into the negatives and find like, what are the trends? Why did they feel like it was negative? And this can really help your business. This can really help you understand who you're marketing and selling to, right? So there's 2 ways to go about this, right? So we found a programmatical way to get Google reviews, and that's why, you know, we're selling our offering, because we found a way to do this programmatically. There's a manual way you can do this. You can literally just go to the review section and take a screenshot of each one of the reviews, or, you know, you can it's been a bit finicky because of how Google has sort of like so I'll show you. It's probably better to show you guys. So all right, now we're going to use, so like we said, so we have this Google Maps MCP, which will show some things like place details, and we have browser use. So I'll show you guys both. All right, so using Google Maps, grab the reviews for this business and process sentiment analysis. So again, this is the DIY version of this, but we're doing within the back end of of bag versus that we have a bit more, you know, standardized, you know, industry practices when we're, one, crunching the numbers, and then 2, getting the data. Because so like right now, okay, so what it did is that so this is the benefit of, you know, using tools like Claude. So it already pulled in all of the reviews that it could from when it first did the pull. It already grabbed all the data, right? So we see here Deborah DeAngles. If we go back to, we'll see that, well, that wasn't present on this one. So it did say that it found 2. So let's see if maybe that's the second one. Maybe it's this one. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so you see here, it pulled this review, right? So it already pulled in all the reviews. Well, here's the limitation with Google Maps. So Google Maps is only going to pull in reviews from, I think they only allow like the first 3, and we can see exactly what came back in Claude. So we see here, so you see this breakdown that was created. This was all based on the data that's already being pulled. So you see now you're getting a more in-depth sort of like breakdown. And Claude is already going ahead and figuring out how to, like, you know, produce that for you, right? So this pulled in about 8, excluding empty reviews. I think it probably pulled in, I think that Google's limitation is you can get the last 5, I believe, or if it's 8, then maybe the last. There's a limitation on how many you can pull. So we found a way to pull all of a business's reviews, right? So this is pretty, again, with the DIY approach, you can take a look at your last, 5 reviews or whatever, and get an understanding of how people are feeling. But if you want that full sort of like understanding, then you definitely want to leverage our tool so that you can get all of your reviews, right? But all in all, this is still a good start. This is still something that is showing you that, hey, you know um, top positive words, recommended, great, respectful. So most of the sentiment, they have it at neutral or positive, slightly no negatives. Key themes: customer service, time, efficiency. um, uh, we see here, key insights from review. Now 100% reviews are 5-star. So just giving you data so that you can start making decisions. And that's what's so important whenever you're, marketing is data driven. Like, you should be making data driven decisions so that you're not kind of just flying blind or flying in the dark. And this is what our tool is helping you to do. So you see how, we get more ingrained. And like I said, we also process all of a business's reviews. So that's why, when we look at this one pager that we put together for our clients, we're able to dig deeper. But this is how you could, if you want to kind of like get started on your own, here's how you could do that, right? So, that's the Google review stuff. I think we can also quickly kind of go into, so the landing page stuff. This is like, we're coding here, right? So like, this is where we're pulling in different assets, doing comparison and synthesizing it, and then building code on the back end to build these ads and to build these landing pages. So there's a bit involvement that comes there. Maybe I'll do a video on that later on down the road at some point. But what I could do is maybe we go into I think what would be pretty cool is this competitive analysis is pretty interesting. Um, so I've stumbled upon a tool called Gumloop that you could find a way. So we've been able to build a lot of stuff that Gumloop does, but more programmatically. But Gumloop could be a good starting point for, if you want to just get, up to speed on how this stuff works, or just get your feet wet with this, right? So I'm going to pull up Gumloop in a second. So okay, cool. So Gumloop is a kind of similar space that we're operating in, but they make it easy for you to essentially like run some automations using AI. So they have some templates, and then you can build your own templates. So this one lets you put in a keyword, and then it will show you enter a keyword to get detailed SEO metrics, including search volume, competitiveness. So it'll show you like how that keyword is, performing, and then you can see how your competitors, might be using that. So we do a little bit more here. So as you see here, we show them like, here's the target keywords that your site is targeting or should be targeting, and then we let you know how you compare against your competitors. So we kind of like go a step further with it, but again, this could be a starting point for you to get an understanding of what of what it's doing. And a lot of this stuff, I want to give a shout out here. Vibe marketers, um, they're pushing a lot of this forward. Let me actually pull up that X account. Gotta give shouts out because I've been learning a whole lot that we've been able to implement, and then going deeper with the development skills to kind of like automate a lot of this stuff. But they're definitely pushing the needle forward with like what can be done here. So I just want to pull up one of so the boring marketer, and I'm gonna pull up. Show. So this has been a really useful account to sort of like take a look at the boring marketer. He goes in pretty good detail around like how you can sort of kind of like, get more in tune with vibe marketing, leverage it. So definitely an account to follow along with ours as we're building a lot of that automation there. But they're doing some great work there. So shouts out to them. So this is how I stumbled upon gum loop. So like I said, so we could take something like, here's the keywords that we found for this business, and we can see how that keyword is performing. So Gumloop, they have a free tier, but if you want to, get more runs, then you can pay for more. And then you just hit run, and then now it's going to bring back a sort of breakdown that you can take and then now use to build more on top of, to see like how your brand or how a brand that you're following is performing by and large for this keyword. And this leverages some other third-party tools like SEMrush. SEMrush they're a pretty big. I have no. They're a pretty big player in the space. They do quite a bit. I could do a whole video on all the things that they do. So they do AI-powered marketing, SEO, traffic. So they have a bunch of tools that they offer, and it's all about keyword research. So Gumloop is kind of essentially like leveraging some of the existing tools that SEMrush has, but they do social media management and campaigns. They have a lot of different tools. I can do a whole video on all of that, and maybe I should at some point, to see all the different tools that they offer. But again, this can be very overwhelming, consuming if you're a company, if you're a brand, if you're a small business that you just want to focus on what you do well, and that's run your business and run your service. So this is what we're offering. We're offering a tool in Bagverse that helps to automate this and helps get you, take away that overwhelmness so that you can just start getting the value out of this, this amazing technology. So we see it came back, reporting out as a keyword. So this is the keyword, search volume, may not have sufficient value to register. So it itself is not doing that well, but we see that there are some businesses that are sort of like indexing on it. So these would be this business's competitor, right? So like, here's how they're ranking, positioning, and we see that the business that we were looking at isn't on that list. So we take this plus other data that we track and monitor to show them that like, hey, this is why we have you ranking where you're ranking compared to your competitors. And here's some of the content that can help do that. So the blog posts or some of the social media posts, the Google profile and the ads. So, this is going to be, like I said, probably stop it there. This is going to be something that's very important as we move forward. You know, for marketers, for small businesses, understanding how you can leverage these AI workflows coupled with data to really track and monitor and get a better understanding of what your business is doing and what your online presence is, where your gaps are, and how you can fill those gaps. And we want to build tools to help automate that and make that simple for you. Some other things that we didn't touch here is like pulling in your Google Analytics, pulling in how your ads are performing, pulling in you know, sessions on your website. So there's a whole lot there. My background is I've worked in the market research and ad tech space for years, building tools there. So you know, these are things that essentially I want to bring all these tool sets to the masses. And you know, the stuff is exciting, and it's only going to get more and more prevalent and more important. So you know, definitely tap in and continue to, you know, jump in with us. You know, we jump on live. We have different videos across different channels. So, you know, definitely check us out, and you know, look forward to catching you on the next one. Peace.